Zero news on the rise, bringing wrestling to our eyes. WWE, AW in the spotlight, never telling us a lie. Accurate in every report, fans cheering into light. Zero news, our guiding light in the wrestling fight. Covering the ring with precision, no indecision. Zero news, for the truth, bringing wrestling updates, never uncouth. In the world of WWE and AEW, Zero News shines through.
Hello, yes, welcome to another edition of the EVP Xero Show. We are finally back after a couple of weeks off, and yeah, it's going to be a big one. First of all, anyone in the if you do want to join in with the show, don't forget to hit up the comments, which I can see people have already started doing. I've actually noticed there was big comments since several hours ago. People started leaving comments in there. I don't know if they're still tuned in, but if they are, then hello still. So let's get into it. First of all, first comment then. Anyway, Michael plays El Grande is hurt. That's not correct. Chad Gable is hurt. El Grande isn't Chad Gable. So so that's going to be completely. El Grande is still scheduled to wrestle as well, basically. At some point, so yeah, because he's still actually speed champion. So yeah, Gwen Anderson, good evening. Hello, Gwen. Hello to anyone else listening as well. Don't forget to leave comments, and we'll get around to them and join the show. So let's get into it then. So Night of Champions, obviously this weekend, where they are live from Saudi Arabia. I've already had questions already in relation to the Saudi SmackDown. Now for America is still airing at 8 p.m. EST on wherever you normally watch it on, whether that's USA Network or whatever. But anyone outside of America gets it on YouTube. It gets it on Netflix several hours earlier when it's actually live there. I believe it's 6 p.m. UK time. I know, so nice early SmackDown for me, for example, tomorrow, and anyone else outside of America. Whilst we're also on shows talking about that, I will get into this one. There is also tonight TNA that is airing actually live tonight on YouTube for free, so you don't need any subscriptions or anything like that. If you are a TNA fan, or even if you want to tune in and you've not watched TNA yet or anything because of subscriptions, don't forget to watch that tonight on YouTube for free. Right, so then let's get into it then. First of all, the news, and then we'll get into Night of Champions. So obviously, as we've seen, an announcement has been made at the tapings for NXT. Now, this is a bit of a spoiler, so if you don't want this spoiler, then just quickly tune out for a couple of seconds. But on the tapings for NXT, it was made official that Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace will face off against JC Jane and Fallon Henley at Great American Bash. And also Obafemi will face off against Inamura for the championship then as well. That falls into what Michael Place just asked, which is you've been teasing the weekend of the 12th and 13th being massive, being bigger than AEW. Yes, there is a lot to come, and you'll start seeing the news start filtering down in relation to that. I know 2 names have already been announced as well for things. And there's also something else which I'll get into slightly later on for that one. Whilst we're on injury, yes. So whilst we're on the injury thing as well, WrestleFace has asked, is LA Knight actually hurt? Yes, he is. Dominic Mysterio is also dealing with a ribcage injury. That is why the match was pulled from Night of Champions. It was nothing to do with what people were saying online, because I've seen a lot of people saying, Dom refused to work Saudi and stuff like that, or AJ refused to work Saudi. It wasn't at all. Dom is legit hurt. He has a ribcage injury. He's not expected to be out for any long periods of time, but he will be out for a short bit of time, not defended or anything, and that's why that match got pulled. As we've already said at the start of the show as well, Chad Gable is also injured. He's scheduled for shoulder surgery this week. Cam said I was on your wrong live. I don't know which wrong live it was, but right. Also, in something quite interesting, bit more news this week then. So John Cena has actually stated that several pivots were made to his run this year involving the title. Now, I know one of them pivots was the original thing of him actually winning the title, because he was never meant to be winning it originally. That was the first one, and they're actually now doing it. These pivots, because of leaks and whatever else and stuff like that, the pivots are actually being made at the times of the shows. So people turn around and say, but this was meant to happen or whatever, or he was meant to do, this was meant to happen, or you said this, or somebody said this and stuff like that. But it's being changed on the whim. Basically, they're going into the shows and Triple H is basically saying, right, we're changing this round. I've decided this person's winning now, or this person's winning now. So don't take anything for granted at this moment in time. So I'll look here. So this has all come down today. Some of this news has. So PW Insider have revealed today that Aleister Black is set for a big push on SmackDown. He has reportedly been receiving praise within WWE for his in-ring work and merchandise sales. His recent interactions with top talent is said to be part of the plan to elevate him. We might as well. What do you have on that? Do you want to say anything on that? Also on the John Cena thing? I thought I was completely asked him because I was rushing.
I mean, we talked about it several times. That's why nothing that we post goes on X, because Triple H is changing a lot of stuff on the fly. We were both told Cena was never originally supposed to win the title. Cause they were The Rock and then pitched Cody to go heel. It was shut down at that point in time for some reason. And so Cena did end up winning the title, but I don't think he holds past SummerSlam. But like Zero said, they're changing stuff on the fly. But it's definitely they got to take the title off of him soon so he can finish out the run as a babyface. So
yeah, that's the thing is I've seen a load of people turn around and say, no, Cena needs to. Cena's final match needs to be about Cody, needs to be against Cody then, but that would mean that Cena has his complete run as heel. Now, he doesn't want that. The WWE don't want that either, because they want him going out as a face. So for him to be able to go out as a face, he needs to drop that title, and then he can then have random matches. And because at the minute where he's obviously a heel, he's only really facing the face people. So you've then got more opportunities then to open up for the ending part of his run. So however many more days he's got. So yeah, I can see him dropping at SummerSlam personally. I can see that title coming off him at SummerSlam to Cody, and then Cody then just holds it from SummerSlam until whenever. That'd be the thing there for it. Anything else on those things before we move on?
I mean, the Aleister Black news is good. I mean, they brought him back from AEW. Hopefully they give him some kind of run. I don't know if he's going to go for the U.S. title. I don't know if he's in for a world title run, because obviously Cena and Cody are going to have that title locked up for a while. Yeah, I mean, that's good. I think they need to do something with Rusev too, because they also brought him back from AEW. I don't know if you said anything about it or not, but obviously, Trish Stratus. Did you say anything about Trish?
No, I was getting to that one in a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll get to that one in a minute. Yeah. Well, I'll move on to that one in a minute. But first of all, I'm going down my list. See, so this is coming down from WrestleVotes today as well. That Roman is returning very soon to TV. Now that will be when they took it. I said it very soon. That does not mean that he's showing up on Saturday like many people are thinking or doing that way. You know, he will be in for SummerSlam. Basically, he's due in a couple of weeks before SummerSlam. It'll be a random SmackDown or Raw return. It won't be a pay-per-view return. It's going to be a TV return. So that basically, that's how they're going to do it for. His tribal chief monikers as well are being dropped. He will no longer be known. See, the report that came down said alternative tribal chief monikers are being considered for Roman upon his impending return. Now, a lot of people were getting confused on that, and I asked for a bit more information. Basically, what it is he will no longer be referred to as the tribal chief. They're even considering taking away the OTC thing as well, because obviously that's the whole, you know, that's got the tribal chief thing mixed into it. They want to sort of move on from the whole tribal chief thing, and that he'll still have a nickname. I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be, but he's going to almost essentially drop the tribal chief gimmick as such. You know, so like the acknowledge me thing and stuff like that. That's all part of the tribal chief thing, but they want to move on from that and sort of have Roman do other bits and pieces really for it, because they acknowledge, and they sort of, going back to what you're saying there then, they sort of acknowledge that the acknowledge me thing and the whole tribal chief thing is part of his heel persona, which they don't really want now as part of his face anymore. So it's going to be basically a brand new persona altogether for it. Just a little bit of clarification now on that. Also want to talk of Roman. He has been cast as Akuma in the live-action Street Fighter movie. So that means he's going to be out for even more. I've been saying this for ages though. He's on the what we call the Brock Lesnar schedule, where he'll literally only show up for the big events. You know, he'll be doing. Well, you'll be lucky to see him for more than 5 pay-per-views a year. Not even that. He'll show up basically for Mania, possibly Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. You know, for that one, I don't know whether he's going to be showing up for any of the other Saudi shows or whatever next year, but for now, only expect him to do those big 4. You won't really have anything else sort of like rounds, you know, any other ones around that. So before we move on then, let's just go through to here then. So Russ Faith, oh boy, so many people injured, praying swift recovery for them all. Yeah, it's not good that there's so many people out, obviously. But at least there's one thing going on, which is obviously Chad Gable's injured, but El Grande is not injured, so El Grande Americana can still show up on tally. That's a good thing there. Michael Place, someone said Roman no-show reigns. That's a new thing now that everyone started off. It's not his choice. It's the contract that he signed. I'll say that. Monty, hello, Monty. Russ Faith, excited to see this new character from Roman and how they'll play out. And congrats to him for his role in Street Fighter. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. His new character is going to be a good one, and it will fall in line with everything, sort of like for that final match that he will be getting against The Rock gradually, and it will all make sense in time. Right, so as CJ's already sort of mentioned, Trish status things. So, Trish has been, basically Trish was meant to be announced as returning as part of the WWE Evolution event, but that was meant to be on SmackDown, but they scrapped that last minute. She is still due to be part of Evolution in some capacity. Alongside that as well, Vicky Guerrero has also been leaked out as being part of Evolution for it. I will say now they are stacking that weekend. You'll start seeing names gradually filter out. That's the first 2. From my understanding, there is going to be at least another 3 to 4 names that we are expecting to hear as returns for it. Some pretty big names as well, basically.
I have something on the Roman, and then I know we gotta get to the predictions. It's just for me, like, you know, I've been through this whole journey with the bloodline. It looks to me like you know, Roman's kind of doing what he said, like his whole family, like Jay and Jimmy and Solo and
Yeah.
Jacob are all elevated, but the IWC just runs completely. They say a report, and they're already saying, "Oh, he's gonna stop Seth from cashing in on Cena." Well, Seth isn't cashing in on Cena.
No. And I'm gonna get to that actually in a minute. Which
yeah, it's just crazy. They automatically go to, oh, he's facing Seth for the title at SummerSlam. Like, he had his 1,300 days. He's on a new contract with working limited dates. Like, he'll probably work SummerSlam. He's gonna work SummerSlam. Probably might not see him again until Survivor Series. He's obviously in a new movie. People just gotta tamper down on the Roman talk.
All I know is, from last time I heard, his new contract consists of 12 dates a year. Basically, that is it, and that includes the pay-per-view. So that'll be so that'll include the pay-per-views and then whatever else. So his contract's about 12 dates a year, and then he can choose to do more should he wish to. Like the Saudi shows, he's not contracted for. He doesn't need to do them. He can choose to do Saudi if he wishes to. The only ones they obviously expect him to be at is Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. So that's 5 of the dates already anyway when it comes to it. Then of course you've then got to take into consideration then the obviously setups and stuff like that, so the Raws and SmackDowns and stuff. And if, say, for example, they have him on both nights of SummerSlam or both nights of Mania, that will obviously count that as an extra date as well. But his contract is about 12 dates, or it's about 11 or 12 dates. I can't remember exactly now. And then the rest of the dates is completely sort of what he wants to do, really. If he wants to do any extras, or if they need him for anything, then they'll ask him. But that's that. So yeah, I hate to say it, but Roman's time in WWE is coming to an end. As you can see, he's joining all these major film franchises. You know, he's joining movies and stuff like that now. So the reason why he's hardly on TV now is they are gradually filtering him out, and they're wanting people to see the next generation of stars. You know, that's why you're seeing now more of Jacob, and that's why you're seeing now more of like Jay and stuff like that, because they're moving on now from that. Essentially, the company's telling you to move on from Roman and move on from everyone like that, basically. You know, because come 2 years time, you probably won't see any bloodline, or not in the current bloodline on TV, because most of them will either be gone or retired or in films and stuff like that, because most of the bloodline stars are signing up to movies, and they'll be snapped up like that, especially with Dwayne in that in the film industry and stuff like that. You know, most of them are going to be gone. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So I've seen a lot of questions about this, so let's just quickly go through this before we go through Saturday night main event. The weekend of the 12th and 13th, obviously we have Great American Bash. We also have Saturday night main event and Evolution that weekend. Expect a lot of surprises. That's all I'm going to say. For that weekend, expect a lot of surprises, a lot of shocking moments. And it's come down today. I can't remember who exactly posted it, but I seen it earlier, and I was actually sent it earlier as well, that Goldberg is expected to work more than just a one match, even though he's saying this is his retirement match. He's expected to work more than one match. Now, don't be surprised if he beats Gunther at Saturday night main event, because they want a big moment. So do not be shocked if he walks out with that title belt, or if he wins that title and then to get it off him pretty quickly, they have Seth cash in on Gunther. You know, that I will say that was pitched at one point. That Seth cashes in on Goldberg. That was pitched at one point as Goldberg basically winning, getting the title off Gunther, and then basically then having Seth beat Goldberg instead, basically to win that title. That's sort of what they were planning on doing at one point in time.
I think they could possibly still do that. I think that makes a lot of sense to go ahead and have Goldberg, because Gunther only won just to get this match for Goldberg, and this is in his hometown. So I talked about it Monday too on the space. Like, I do fully expect Goldberg to win the title, and I think a Seth cash in makes the most sense. to where maybe they could set up a Seth and Jay match, maybe for SummerSlam, possibly. I know everybody's clamoring for Seth Roman for the title, but I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, then Seth would retain. So I don't know, but I think a cash in right there makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean that was actually pitched at one point in time for them to actually do that cash in there by Seth. And that would mean then that it would mean one of two ways, that he either cash it because no, I'll start again. It was pitched for Saturday Night Main Event because they know they're obviously going up against All In, which is obviously AEW's biggest show of the year. So they want one of those big moments because obviously everyone just turns around and looks at Saturday Night Main Event like, oh yeah, it's a glorified house show or something like, no big moments ever happen. They never do any title change and stuff out of it. So, the main aim for that weekend is they want people leaving that weekend not talking about AEW. They want all the spotlight on WWE. Now, the best way to do that would be have Goldberg beat Gunther and then have Seth cash in on him on a Saturday Night Main Event because of that, and then be so. Hang on a minute, they've done all this at what people turn around and call glorified house shows and stuff, and it will then get people tuning into the next ones to see whether they do anything sort of like similar to that in other shows coming up, and if there's any other big title changes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the reason behind it, is because it's that weekend. They essentially, WWE that weekend, as I was told, they want to do the death blow to AEW and have it with all their plans that they've got for that weekend, including the names that are returning and the surprises and stuff like that they've got plans for all three of the shows that weekend. They essentially don't want anyone talking AEW by the end of it, even though it's meant to be AEW's big show and stuff.
There was one thing I was going to bring up that I got like several DMs about it in the last since NXT was on Tuesday, and that's WrestleVotes and several other big news source outlets reported Jordynne Grace was going to SmackDown, and now she has a women's NXT title match at Evolution, and they wanted to know, is she gonna win the title and stay on NXT and not go to SmackDown? I think that's a possibility. I don't think Daisy Jane's going to have the title very long, and they won't big moments that weekend anyway.
Well. I've been hinting at this in the Discord, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to see whether you obviously see whether you know what I'm on about here, right? Without coming out of it. Blake Monroe, her match that weekend, she will not only just be performing on the Saturday, she will be performing on Sunday as well, basically. And okay, I'll just come out of it. At the moment, there is plans to add Blake Monroe to that match between JC and Jordan on the Sunday and have her win, because they're saying that way. And then obviously, they're competing against AEW that weekend. So what bigger moments than have Blake obviously come straight over from AEW and win the NXT Women's Championship in a triple threat match on that Sunday at Evolution. That was planned that's been pitched at one point, is to have her enter that match. So that way then, so Jordan can go up to SmackDown, and then JC can drop the belt and they can then put the title on Blake. And again, that will be a talking point for the weekend, where it'll be a holy shit. She was teaming with Jordan on the Saturday. Something will go down probably on that Saturday during that tag match, in which she then gets entered into the match on the Sunday. And then, they're sort of then have Blake win that title on Sunday, take it off JC. And then, that doesn't hurt Jordan, because Jordan can then be saved from being pinned or whatever. They can have Blake pin JC. Jordan can then move up to SmackDown, basically, then after SummerSlam or whatever it is, or after this or after that weekend, they can obviously then do that. So yeah, she is still going up to SmackDown as part of it. So yeah, that's so just keep an eye out for that, really. Just keep an eye out, because that's gonna be one of the big moments that I know was planned for that weekend, as sort of that shock factor to get people talking, primarily WWE over everything else. So that's one thing there. Anything else that you think of news wise before we go on to Night of Champions or anything?
That's pretty much all I have on the news, honestly.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Right, so yeah, so as we were saying, so Night of Champions is this Saturday from I believe is it Riyadh again? They're in.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Obviously, after all this stuff with the war and everything like that, well, potential war, people have been saying, oh yeah, they should cancel it and stuff like that. They were never going to cancel it. It was always going to go ahead. Money talks at the end of the day. All the stars and that are all safe. They've all got over there. Everyone's actually arrived now. So, so that's all fine there. So let's get into this. So, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross in a singles match. Who do you have and why? That one,
I'm glad Triple H finally put Carrion on a PLE. It's been a long time since he's even been in a match period on TV. I don't see any way possible that Cross loses right here. Just because he hasn't been on TV. I think they're going to try to push Cross. I love Sammy, but I think Sammy will have his time next year. I'm going to go with Karrion Cross. I think Cross needs the win. He hasn't been on a PLE. I know Sammy hasn't won a big PLE match either, but Cross really needs this win, so I'm going to Cross.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cross as well for that one. I can see Modest Music one as also to us. Karrion Kross deserves better. Yeah, he does. I will say as well, again, as per normal, because I just forget to say this at the beginning of this, is if anyone wants to put their predictions in the chat, feel free to, and I will bring that up.
Do you want to answer that question from WrestleFace?
Yeah. So just before we carry on, WrestleFace has said Cody said his babyface run is coming to an end. Is he leaking that on purpose in hopes that Triple H won't force him to do it? No, he wants to do the heel run. He wants to do the heel turn. He's doing that primarily because, and I've mentioned this several times as well, is WWE are trying to kill off the dirt sheets. WWE are trying their hardest to kill off the dirt sheets. And they've all seen the news where everyone's basically gone round, and some of the big names now have all come and said Cody's not turning heel. There's not any plans in place for Cody to turn heel, and stuff like and is, even though he's teasing it, he's always going to be a babyface and stuff like that. And Cody now doing that is basically now just that it's part of the plan to slowly destroy the dirt sheets and slowly destroy news sources, because Triple H hates us all. Basically, that's all I can say. Triple H hates us all and stuff, and he doesn't want leaks and stuff. So his way of doing it is, if he'll see something out there, he will try and debunk it as much as physically possible. Basically, Modest Music. If they're going to do heel Cody, then they should do a double turn in Cody Cena rematch. Don't be surprised if they do that. I won't be surprised if they do that. Do that on there, basically. They should do a Cody Cena turn there. They should do a double turn there. It would make sense and it would look good. So yeah, both feeling is mutual. Yeah, agreed. So we've both gone for Karrion Kross, didn't we, for the last one? I think.
Yep.
We've both gone for Karrion Kross, right? Yeah. So moving on then. So we have Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. Who have you got for that one?
So this is kind of long and drawn out. This is kind of fantasy booking. I think where they're going with it, because I don't think Brie has re-signed yet. I think they're working towards that. I really feel like they're going to throw Roxanne into the tag title picture, because they didn't strip Raquel and Liv's hurt. I can see Roxanne getting involved, but don't be surprised. I really think they're going to do Rhea and Nikki against Raquel and Roxanne at Evolution for the tag titles. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nikki Bella come and help Rhea Ripley or fend off Roxanne Perez, and that leads to Evolution. I'm going to go Rhea.
Yeah, I'm going to Rhea as well. I mean, going back to what you said anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if Nikki is involved in that because she was meant to be facing Liv originally at Evolution, and of course now Liv's injured, so she's
Yep.
not. They're not going to be able to do that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's down there. Yeah, so I think we both got Rhea Ripley for that one, haven't we? Right, and then the next one then, so the singles match for the United States Championship between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Does Jacob love Solo or does Solo love Jacob? You never know. Who have you got for that one and why?
This one for me was the toughest one to predict on the card. As me and you both know, Hikuleu has been on the pre-shows of SmackDown or dark matches, one of the two. I keep hearing that he could possibly debut as in Saudi. If he does, like, which side is he going to be on? Is he going to help Solo, or is he going to help Jacob? I still have a hard time believing they're going to take the title off of Jacob yet, and then push him up to the main event scene. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that Jacob retains, but I think that Solo could possibly win it. Maybe at SummerSlam or something, they do a rematch, but I'm going to go with Jacob retaining.
Possibly, yeah. I'm agreeing with you there. I'm going to go with Jacob. I can see if Hikuleu does debut at Night of Champions, which I don't know why. I don't know. I just have that feeling that he's not. But if he does, I can see him being Team Jacob because Jacob's got those backup. If you think about it, Solo's got everyone else, hasn't he? He's got the Tongans potentially, and he's also got Bronson Reed, hasn't he? No, not Bronson Reed. No, not Bronson. What's his name? Bloody
JC Mateo.
JC Mateo. That's it. Yeah, JC Mateo. Yeah. So I can see Jacob basically needing some support there, and that could then obviously then lead into War Games and stuff like that. Obviously later on down the line and stuff like that again, because they're going to try and get them in War Games and stuff again for it. So yeah. Let's have a look here. So Wrestle Faith. Jacob retains with the help of Jimmy, which leads to a tag match. Jacob and Jimmy versus Solo and Mateo. Yeah, that could
possibly.
Yeah, I mean they've got to do something for the minute until the absolute goat Tongaloa returns.
Mm-hmm.
And then once he returns, he's going to come in and win everything. So that's going to be down there. Right. So the next one then. So the Queen of the Ring tournament final between Oscar and Jade Cargill. Who do you think is going to be the queen this year out of those two?
This is another tough one. You put it in the Discord, and I think I posted it on X. Like, Liv was supposed to face Io at Night of Champions. So, like, with her injury, like, it's been a trickle effect with creative. They did tease like Asuka and Io on a commercial break. I don't think Asuka has to win Queen of the Ring to face Io. I think they could build something there. I'm gonna go with Jade Cargill. I think that ultimately they could possibly do Jade and Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam, but they're really teasing a Naomi heel turn. I mean, cash in on SmackDown with that Tiffany and Nia having the last woman standing match. So we still could end up seeing Jade and Naomi at SummerSlam with Bianca making her return. Which side will she be on when she comes back? Will she help Naomi or will she help Jade? They're far from done. I don't see them having Jade beat Roxanne and have her lose. So I'm gonna go with Jade.
Yeah, I'm sort of agreeing with you there. I'm going for Jade Cargill, and primarily because she's gonna get a big push. They brought her in and stuff, and as I've been saying for a while, and that for this is WWE. They are even on NXT and stuff coming up. Is anyone who's come in from AEW, they're going to give them a big push as that whole Tony fumbled thing and stuff like that. So putting Jade into that match and having her then have a title match at SummerSlam, like what you said, even if it's against Naomi, like if Naomi cashes in, Naomi can then hold that title until SummerSlam, and then Jade potentially takes it off her then, through her Queen of the Ring win. She could potentially do it then, and then they can then put the top women's title on Jade. Because then that would then be, oh look, in AEW they only gave her the TBS title or TNT title, what it was at the time, whereas now she's actually women's champion. So that would say that'd be one of those things that they would want to do there. So I'm going to go for Jade primarily for that reason, to get her into that main event scene for SummerSlam for that one. I know, I think it's going to be that one there. Before we move on, then let's have a look. So Cam said Oscar, and then Alexis Sherman said, since Jimmy Uso helped Jacob Fatu last Friday against Solo Sikoa and Jason Mateo, is it a tag team forming between the two? Yes, it seems like it could well be, because they need to give Jimmy something, don't they, for the minute. However, Jimmy and Jay are meant to be reforming at some point as well down the line, so that's don't hold out. That's going to be a long tag team, because Jay will be back with Jimmy very soon. Modest music, I prefer Oscar. However, they need to do something with Jade. Oscar is winding down. That's correct. Yeah, she is. Cam, I'm not repeating that on air. What you said there, but yeah, we know what that is. And then Wrestle Faith, I do not like that every week it is mentioned that the women have had 100% successful cash in. Something does not sit right with me. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. What we also need to account for is Naomi actually going to be successful with her cash in? I mean, they could still end up doing Naomi and Jade, because Naomi could still insert herself into that title match essentially at SummerSlam, because I mean, that's the only way which she could do it, is she could cash in, she could pre-cash in for SummerSlam to get added to that match, so they can then do Jade, Naomi, and Tiffany, isn't it? In there,
or they could have, if she doesn't cash in Friday, they could have Jade and Tiffany, and have Tiffany win the title. Have Jade win the title, but have Naomi cash in on Jade at SummerSlam. That's a possibility as well.
That could possibly work. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a possibility there. But no, it'll be one of those two ways which I can see there. It'll either turn into a triple threat, or like what you said, they'll have her try and cash in at SummerSlam after Jade sort of like done that one. Right, and then we then have Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the King of the Ring tournament finals. I think we've sort of already worked out which one this one's going to be, but I'll let you go into it. So who have you got for this one? I think I know what's coming down, and I think a lot of people in the comments might also be saying the same as well. So
Cody,
between Randy and Cody.
Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I mean, this is the most predictable. I'm not sure why he's even in the tournament. He just pinned Cena at Money in the Bank. I knew once I saw him that he was in a tournament, he wasn't losing. But the problem is like, are they gonna have him beat Randy, and then they just go about their separate ways, or are we gonna see a clean win from Cody, and then Randy leaves Cody laying? I don't know, because they still got to do Cody Cena, so maybe they put the Randy heel turn off a little while, because I think Cody's the one to turn heel on Randy at some point. So Cody Rhodes has got to win here. He's the one taking the title off Cena, so I'm going Cody.
Yeah, as we already said, it's going to be Cody versus Cena at SummerSlam, so it's blatantly going to be Cody winning this one. Like what you were saying, I could potentially see Cody showing, because it's so close and stuff, and because it would be linked to the SummerSlam match, I can see Cody showing a lot of heel signs in this match, and potentially leaving Randy sort of in the middle of the ring, and sort of beating him down or whatever for a little bit leading up to it, or after the match or whatever, just to show off that heel side of it. So but then obviously then he'll snap out of it and then do it that way, like what he's doing, where he's sort of showing off the two personalities at the moment, and at one point he's sort of going heel, and then he's then suddenly snapping back into the face bit. So yeah, I can see that potentially happening on Saturday. Is they're going to show a big massive turn, or we'll have something that will show off Cody's hillside, to show off even further there. Right, and then what I presume would be the main event of the show for the undisputed WWE Championship. We have John Cena versus CM Punk in Punk's first Saudi match, after all of his comments and stuff like that, and obviously calling it blood money and, telling The Miz to go and suck a Saudi dick, basically. At one point. This is quite surprising. They obviously got CM Punk to go to Saudi, but yeah. So Cena versus CM Punk. I can guess who you're going to go for, but let's go for it. Who you got?
I mean, I would love to see Punk take the title off Cena. I think this heel run is awful. I haven't liked it since the start. I'm not gonna like it now. But I do think that his last month and a half has been a lot better as a heel. His match with Randy was pretty good. I expect the match to be great because, I mean, Punk is going to be able to make this match a lot better than most people would expect. I know the IWC is rocking up on Seth Rollins cashing in on Cena. Well, they're going to be highly disappointed. He's not going to cash in on Cena. I could see him coming out and maybe teasing a cash in. Maybe that distracts Punk enough for John Cena to cheat to win. Ultimately, as much as I would love to see CM Punk win the title here. I'm going to go with John Cena because ultimately Cody Rhodes has to take the title off of Cena. So I'm going to go with Cena retaining, maybe with the help of Seth Rollins. I can't see Cena losing in Saudi. I don't think he loses till SummerSlam. So I'm going to go Cena.
Yeah, same here. I've got John Cena obviously retaining there. I don't know whether it's going to be like anything to do with Seth or anything like that could do it. You never know. He could literally just do like what he's been doing, where he's just basically beating down people and showing off the hillside. Because technically, his persona at the moment, he doesn't really need any help, does he? He can just cheat and sort of get away with it and stuff like that. Really, so how it's going down at the moment. So something's obviously going to go down in the match and stuff, but I don't know whether Seth's going to be involved. I think they're going to try and hold Seth off on that for now, and have him involved on the sort of the more World Heavyweight Championship side of things, and sort of have him go for that one. Again at those events in July. I've just got a feeling that they might hold off to then. And that just again, because like what we've been saying, Triple H sees all and stuff, and he's seeing a lot of people obviously mentioning that, so he's going to go, you know what, you want this, you're not getting it. I'm not even going to tease it or anything like that, just to really annoy people, because that is the guy that he is. He'll see it online and he'll be like, oh yeah, these people want this to happen, so I'm not going to give it to them. At the end of the day, I'm going to try and flip the script again and try and do it that way. So yeah. Right, so I've got John Cena winning that one to then go into the match at SummerSlam with him versus Cody. We've got quite a lot of comments on this one, so let's have a look here. So let's have a look. Modest Music went Cody, and then it said Cody for me ruined Mania 40. We should have gotten Rock versus Roman then. Cody could have won at SummerSlam, but what's done is done. That's correct, Jay. We should have got Rock versus Roman, but obviously situations happened and stuff, and I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that was that one there. Apparently, though, obviously as part of it, Rock was never planned for Mania. It was obviously just teased there, and the reason why they obviously decided to do that was Nick Khan basically Ariel Manway told Rock, tease something and get people to buy Mania tickets because they're not selling, and also to get Elimination Chamber tickets selling because they're not selling either. That's the main reason behind that. Wrestle Faith Punk's getting a lot of heat today. Yeah, apparently he pushed some kid or something. Yeah, that's what I've seen. I haven't seen the full thing, but yeah, apparently he pushed some kid who was waiting in line for an autograph or something for him. Not 100% sure on that one. I've just seen a video. Don't know what's going on there. It could just be part of the persona or whatever else it is. But yeah, that was what's that?
I think he was walking. He was walking into some kind of. So maybe it was the backstage. Maybe it was the back there where they do the autographs and all that. He was walking in with Randy, and that kid, like, I don't know if the kid kind of got on him too fast. He just kind of pushed the kid away. I don't know where Zero went. Maybe he'll be coming back. Anyway, I until Zero comes back, I think that he just kind of pushed the kid. But yeah, he's definitely getting a lot of heat today. Modest Music won. Cena Punk to me is becoming more and more unlikable by the day. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he's still pretty over, but yeah, Zero did get nuked. He's definitely nuked from. I won't be able to shut this down. But I will go for a few more minutes until maybe he comes back. Russell, go ahead. There he is.
Yeah, I'm in now. There we go. Sorry about that.
No, I was just reading through the comments till you came back. The last one I did was Modest Music. I haven't got to Wrestle Faith.
Yeah, I went and I got killed from on here.
Caesar.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'm repeating. There we go. I don't think there we go. Right, yeah. So where were we? So Cena Punk becoming more and more.
Yeah.
Carry on. You're reading them off. Carry on. You go for it.
No, go ahead. That's where we're at. I was just waiting for you.
Right, so Cena Punk to me is becoming more and more unlikable by the day. Yep, that's true. It seems to be. Russ Faith, I'd rather have Punk versus Cody for the title than Cena Cody again. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Punk took him out. Lemon Biscuit Zero got nuked. Yep. Yep. And Punk turning heel. Yeah, fire. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, looks to be. Yeah, that seems to be what it is. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the bloody hell happened there. Everything sort of died on me then. Yeah. Anything else do you think we need to cover, really?
No, I was just reading through the comments. I can't really think of anything. Obviously, it's a 2 or 3 hour show Saturday, and then there's 3 title matches on SmackDown tomorrow. Now I did have a question about Raw, because on my Netflix it shows that it's coming on at 8 or 7. I know they're taping SmackDown as well next week. Are they going to air it in the United States? Are they going to air it at the regular time, or is it going to be 6 p.m. on Netflix?
It should be 6 p.m. because it's stuff for Clemens advertise that, isn't it?
Well, it is, but on my Netflix it shows that it's not coming on until 7 p.m., which is I'm in Central. I'm in Central Standard Time now, not Eastern, so I'm an hour behind Eastern.
That's weird then, because it's meant to be 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't aware for it. But yes, it should be, but no, so it should be fine then. Yeah, I don't know what's supposed to be going on, but no. Am I echoey, by the way?
Not really. You sound good.
Yeah, but I've got to connect on my phone. That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, I can't think of anything else really that's come up this week. Can you think of anything else really, news-wise?
Not really. Like I said, there's 3 title matches tomorrow. Street Profits against Wyatt 6, Tiffany against Nia, and who's the third? Oh, Zelina against Julia tomorrow. So I expect to see. I expect one title change at least. I don't think it's going to be Naya winning. I think we could possibly see Julia or Wyatt Six win, one of the two.
Possible, yeah. I could probably see the tag team changing. Yeah, if anything, but no.
Yep.
Right. So because I'm having technical issues, we are going to end early tonight. If that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Because my laptop's literally died on me, so I'm going to have to quickly turn this off. Really. Thanks for tuning in tonight, everyone else. Sorry for such a short show and that technical issue in the middle there. Yep, we will be back next week for our post night champion show. I forgot what show we were on then.
Episode 18.
18, yeah. Okay, yeah. So for episode 18. So we'll see you next week then. Thank you. This is Zero signing out for the week.
And it's the EVP, CJP. You guys enjoy SmackDown tomorrow and Night of Champions. And we will see you guys back next Thursday at 6 p.m. for episode 18.
Yeah. See you later.